There have been so many conversations happening since that shocking video came out of Cassie trying to escape the monster Diddy and him chasing her down. Now, like I said, lots of conversations happening, and I think that this is some good discourse to have. SKS says, I ain't never letting an N word just beat my butt. B word, we gonna fight. I bet. That is what she said. Now, Mickey Kendall, who has some real life experience in it, responded, and her tweet thread is quite amazing. Mickey Kendall says, I did fight back and almost got arrested. Lots of victims that fight back end up punished by the state. Jails are full of women who save themselves from abuse. Now, remember that women are not we're not full autonomous humans. We were typically property of men. So being beat down and your property of someone, the legal system does not care. They do not want women to be able to fight back. And laws and women being put in jail for these reasons expresses that. It basically says that you should not be able to fight back. You do not belong to yourself enough to be able to try to protect yourself. She continues with, and this isn't even me saying you shouldn't fight back. Just a heads up that much like leaving is a wildly imperfect solution. I threatened my ex and his whole family at one point, and he believed me, but in general, there's no right way out. She says, it's been a while since I talked about this on here, but some of my longtime mutuals know that I was in and out of court with my ex after the divorce, because when they can't hit you, they try to use the system to bankrupt you. She says, I won, but I won't tell you it was easy or cheap. That's the wild thing about abusive relationships. People will judge you for staying and for leaving, and everyone thinks it couldn't happen to them. Folks are always judging someone's relationship, thinking that if they would have just did this instead of that, it would have happened perfectly. And they always find a way to create some narrative that the woman was wrong some kind of way, and she just did this and that, and that made him do this and that. It's never what did he do and why are we not holding him accountable. We don't want to do that. We just still want to ladle all of the blame on the women and make her take accountability for her behaviors, but she also has to atone for his behaviors towards her. It's such a wild situation. Oda's ghostwriter says, in Maryland, even if you push them off of you, you can be charged with second-degree assault, and the cops will tell you both to file charges against each other without even arresting your abuser. Spoiled and Maintained Wife says, unfortunately, it's more acceptable for a woman to be a victim of abuse than a victor over an abuser. They'd rather give sorrow over your casket than mercy in the courtroom. It's disheartening. That's because we're not full autonomous humans yet. We're still supposed to be under the control of men, and this is how you punish women. You punish women for daring to have some autonomy and wanting to survive. Axel Lizzie in the middle says, I discovered this reality in junior high. After 6 weeks of being threatened with grape and unaliving and being physically beat on by a group of older, much larger boys. She says, I went to the counselor and the vice principal with visible bruises and witnesses. No response. When I fought back, I got detention. Chuck Guito says, seriously, white men have literally left the scene and come back with their pew-pew much later and unalive someone and had it called self-defense. But a woman, especially a black woman, defending herself from an abusive partner when he's currently beating her, goes up the river. This person says, I hate that this happened to you, but I'm glad you shared it, because they always talk about fighting back as if it'll always be an option, but they never think about what they'll do if the police get involved and now they're in jail. Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken said, my friend caught murder charges defending herself, saving her own life from her abuser. Luckily, they were dropped as more evidence came out, and one of the 2 times our county prosecutors have shown some sense in the last few years. Sky Noir says, I remember my ex threw himself against the wall and started screaming to high hell, hoping the neighbors would call the police so he could make a false statement and get me arrested, all because I wanted to leave the house and de-escalate the situation. And these two that I circled agreed. I fought back and went straight to jail. WTF. And I was the one who called for help. And then Erica in the middle says, I just read about a woman who got over 6 years for using excessive force and unaliving her rapist. This is what happens when women decide that they want to be safe and fight back because they're being harmed. So, I know it's very simple. Fight back, yay! But we have to be able to protect women who have the nerve to fight back. Now I'm shifting to this tweet thread from Mallory. She says, he's in a towel in that video. It didn't register with me right away. He's in a towel. She thought she had a moment, a brief window, the courage it took to try, and he chased her down in a towel. Please remember that the next time you question why a victim stayed. And also, why do people have to really run down the actions of a victim who's trying to be safe? Like everything they do, the people that are on the outside looking in expect a person that has been abused mentally, physically, financially, whatever, to make the best choices or to do things a certain way. They're always coming down or judging how an abuse victim has behaved, as if it's not just out of sense of survival or like their brains are functioning perfectly. How you are reacting during times where your survival is at stake is not how you are reacting when you're in, a healthy environment. Then Mallory gives this hotline, thehotline.org, if you need to plan to safely leave. She says there's no leave, there's only escape. If you or someone you know needs help planning that escape, there are resources available here. The warning that pops up is there in case your internet use is being monitored by an abuser. So keep that in mind. That's another reason why these conversations are so important in all of these platforms, because women need to know that there are resources to help. Now, some of the comments under the post. Susanna says, I left the hotel room when he was in the shower. The hotel manager saw me and hid me in her office. She said, the moment we'd arrived, she knew I was in trouble. She helped me escape. He tried to apologize years later and couldn't even remember where it happened. Women do a better job of looking out for other women because we are watching, engaging all of the things that are happening. We're watching, engaging body language and that kind of thing. We can communicate and we see these things. So I'm very glad that this woman had that manager looking out for her. Becca says, that's how I escaped. He came after me in a towel too, except I had already made it to the car and locked it. He was in his towel at my car in the street. Ruth says, and beat the out of her without losing his grip. He's done it before. This person says, I escaped while he was at work, rented a U-Haul, grabbed friends from work, dropped the little one at daycare, and we had us packed and out in 20 minutes. I'm thankful every day. This person says, who sold the Diddy video? The hotel? How is that legal to sell evidence of a crime? We don't know. Hopefully somebody is getting through those type of questions. James says, it was the eye-opener of a lifetime. Escaping is not as easy as leaving, and leaving is dangerous as hell. Monica says, I also tried to escape from my ex while he was in the shower. Seeing her run was triggering because I remember that fear. I tried to get away many times. I didn't get away that day, but eventually I did. I'm glad she did too. Some of the quote tweets, this person says, when I realized he was more concerned about his peen being seen than beating the out of his girl. Mickey says, this right here. So many women face this decision every single day. It took my daughter 4 years to leave, and we are still living this nightmare. Severe PTSD, custody battle, having to start her life over again in every aspect. She was a hostage trying to escape, a hostage. And then Mia Mack says, it makes me sick to think about what he did to her when he got her back to that hotel room. She must have been terrified. But y'all, he apologized. He apologized for the video. That's all. He hasn't apologized to all his other victims. He hasn't had to atone for all of his other behaviors. But he apologized for that snippet that we were able to see his monstrous behavior being shown in this video. We see it. Let me know what you think of these tweet threads and how people expect victims to react. Let me know what you think. So many mammies and pick-meshas running to Diddy's defense to coddle him. to accept his apology and to lay blame at Cassie. We're seeing it happen right there. They are unabashedly male identified. Nothing that this man can do can tarnish his own image. So Miss Kelly Price has some things to say under his post. But Washbelly says, this is the reason why predators seek the church. They seek the church in these church mammies. It's a safe haven for degenerates that know they'll be absolved by religious virtue. Now, what did Miss Kelly Price say? It is my sincere prayer that the power of the Holy Ghost overtake you so that you not only have a change of heart, but a change of mind and a change of direction. I have seen you at your best and at your worst. I know what you are capable of being when you are at your best, despite the seductions of this industry. I want to see you and I want to see you soon create in this business, but I need you to pray and I need you to receive from the Most High. I need those prayers to take place sincerely. You are a unique talent, and both sides that represent light and darkness receive you anxiously. Do you know who God is? Lean not until lean not until your own lean not lean not until your own understanding, but all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. And this is Kelly Price. It is so disappointing when these mammies come out and do all of this. She has more grace and understanding for this monster. And it is disgusting. It is disgusting to the pit of my stomach. I cannot stand this mess. When I think about all of the things that he was able to get away with simply because he is in the music industry and has money and power, it disgusts me. And it disgusts me that so many people enabled this behavior and it still enabled this behavior. This man does not need to create anything. Everything that he does needs to go to period. He needs to be, even if he does not go to jail, he needs to be so isolated that nobody else hears him again. We should not be hearing any of his music on the radio. We should not be seeing any of his videos. We shouldn't see it. People should be blocking him. We should not see him at all. He should be isolated and shunned, but he won't because of mammies like this. So Sam says her and R. Kelly were great friends, so I'm not surprised. I didn't know that. Joel says, absolutely false. It is not a safe haven under any circumstances. Child care volunteers have to get checked before starting because, like many other places, including public schools, they find ways to sneak in through once they're found out. Oh, okay. So I guess we haven't seen where victims have been shunned and isolated, where people have like just glossed over the fact that this person is a predator and just been allowed to change churches. We haven't seen that. That's all part of our imagination. Yuliko says, that's why I'm not really impressed by religious people. Yes, I have a close relationship with God, but only your actions, not words, can determine whether you're worthy of being in my circle. This person says, what's frustrating is this only applies to men. It's not Christianity, it's patriarchy. And I, for one, am tired of it. Exactly. We don't give the same grace to women. We don't even give the same grace to women victims. We don't. These women are programmed to run and coddle men. They do not give the same energy to the victims of these men. Google says the idea that they can go harming and hurting people and can suddenly atone and be forgiven. No acknowledgement if the damage done or sincerity. Only God can judge and forgive. Churches must be burned down. Oh, okay. This person says, I think the main problem is they don't take accountability. They just go straight to converting to a religion. Finding God after doing harm is cool, but they need to understand what they did and take the punishment as well. Yes, there needs to be some kind of punishment. There has not been, and he only made this after he got caught, not during the midst of did he have this change of heart. Anyways, y'all let me know what you think about this one and Miss Kelly Price. Jump in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, share. If you made it this far and haven't followed me, go ahead and hit the follow button. We do need to talk about Dr. Dre and how he's been able to escape responsibility for all of his monstrous behavior over the years. We know what he did to Dee Barnes. We know it's been floating around for years, but he's been able to still have a music career, a career selling his headphones, and have marriages. People have still stuck with him. He was even celebrated at the Super Bowl. How are these monsters able to do all of this to people, but the victims just have to live with it? They just have to watch these prominent men stay relevant. It is disgusting. So we need to talk about Dee Barnes. The story of what he did to Michel'le is also out there. These women have both told their stories, but probably because they are Black women. Black women our stories have been disregarded for so long. Racism and sexism, as they intersect, are an MFer because we've been disregarded. We get disregarded by our own community for speaking out. Speaking out means taking a brother down when this brother should have been taken down because he's no brother. No brother would do what he has done to these women. And like this person says, you act like we didn't know this about 20 years ago. Okay, cool. We knew this 20 years ago, but nothing has happened. He still had a flourishing career. So it doesn't matter that we knew it 20 years ago. He should have been canceled, but now we are unearthing all of this stuff. These people need to be shunned and monsters need to be put away. And like this person responded to Jackie saying, and yet Dr. Dre is still praised publicly. I'm not talking about just the industry, like the day he accepted the award and people got on Twitter and kept reposting his clip. Everyone was telling them to be quiet and celebrate the monumental moment. And Jackie said, yes, because that incident was in 1991. That's 32 years ago. You think people should be shamed and ridiculed forever. It's not about being shamed or ridiculed forever. He never had to face any consequences for his behaviors. I want accountability for all of these people. I want them to pay. I want us to start holding all of these people responsible now, because that's the thing. They were able to get away with it for so long, and that made them that much more arrogant and egotistical. And that's another reason why so many men coming after them believe that they can treat women however they want to, because there were no real consequences for these other people. But y'all let me know what you think.
And I remember being on the ground, disoriented. I hear feet, I hear the music stop, and I'm in shock, and I want to go down the stairs, but I'm dizzy, you know what I mean? So I was scared I was going to fall down the stairs, so I grabbed the rail, I pull myself back up, and then I run into the women's restroom.
Okay.
He follows me into the women's restroom.
Okay. And then what happens? Go ahead, Dee. Tell your story.
He continued to assault me in the women's restroom.
Beating you up? Were you sexually assaulted?
I'm not comfortable talking about everything right now.
No comment from NWA's record label, but here's what NWA themselves had to say about the incident back in March.
That's what she get. I hope she gets it again. She got beat down. The host of that show did something that she know what she did and got beat down, and I hope it happened again. See you around, buddy boy.
What was that, Ren?
Huh?
What did she do that would...
What did she do?
What did she do that created the situation that made it that bad?
Try to make us look stupid. Tried to play us.
Is that national TV?
Tried to play us.
On national TV.
Tried to play us in front of millions of people. No peace.
No comment from NWA's record label, but here's what NWA